Besides sending the police, you might want to send an ambulance or a hearse.
Hello, welcome to Billy Ho Sports, coming at you with a Week 10 final thoughts, kind of game stacks, some injury news, a few things that came to my attention during the week and just not too long ago. So stick around. I got a few, one really sneaky stack, and then a few notes and notations on some other one-offs and what to do with the chalk and how to mix and match them in there. So we're going to get into that. Don't forget the 250 subscriber mark we're shooting for. I think we can get there here in the next few weeks if we just step our games up, me included. So hopefully you guys can help me out, and we're going to help you out by offering a completely free contest with a low amount of entries for $250 worth of prizes. This ain't like the free roll on DraftKings where you got 49,000, or 85,000 entries in a $500 contest or some crap like that. So this is legit good chance to win you some money. It is super positive EV because it doesn't cost you anything. Think about that. Think about this. If you try to shoot me, do you think that I would miss? I don't know. Let's take a look at some games. Now, what I want to just come off with a couple of things right off the bat. This is a semi-hot take. It's not really something that I'm going to do, but I'm thinking about maybe throwing them in there. Is Green Bay and Dallas traveling to the frozen tundra. And forgive me, I have not looked at Green Bay's weather. I know there is some Northeast weather concerns, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I haven't checked that particular game yet. But I don't really know for sure. But all I know is Green Bay lost starting cornerback Eric Stoltz for the year. He was their other big dog next to Jair Alexander. I don't really 100% know what that means because Green Bay's been so bad anyway. Aaron Jones is nicked up. Offensive linemen are nicked up. This might just be Dallas ground and pound all day. Zeke's going to be back, so you can't really trust Pollard either. Lamb could get Jair. Jair, I think, did a pretty good job on ASB, St. Brown for Detroit last week. So, it's up to you what you want to do. I would take a shot on Gallup. He's been getting some targets. Gallup is just that quiet guy. I mean, he looks excitable on the field. He might be an absolute nutcase at the club. I don't know, but he just seems like the kind of guy that doesn't assert himself enough. He doesn't seize the day. He ain't carpe in them diems is what I'm thinking. So I don't know, but he's worth a shot. Like I said, Zeke's back. Jerry Jones is looking to get every penny out of that shitty contract. So keep that in mind as well. When you think you might go Pollard, I wouldn't do it. The next game I wanted to cover before I get to the actual stacking is New Orleans at Pittsburgh, which seems kind of juicy, honestly. But I don't want to go all in. I don't know. I mean, it could be a good bounce back spot for Kamara. And Kamara and Deontay Johnson are the two that I think I would probably do a 1v1 there. And it seems to correlate well with the passing versus the rushing. And of course, you know how the upside Kamara's got. He could go absolutely apeshit this week. It's probably good news. He had a down Monday night game and they got their ass kicked at home. So maybe they come right back. I know Pittsburgh defense is healthier, so it could be a little bit more tough sledding. And New Orleans is really not that good. And their defense is not all that either. George Pickens is in the mix. But if you want a good safe guy, I think with the departure of Claypool, I think Deontay Johnson just absorbs, an extra 10% of the targets, 15% of the targets. So I like him there. And that's all I got to say about that one. The Houston and New York Giants game has kind of crossed my path today and has some stacking potential. A bit of an afternoon wind to deal with, but I think it's going to be dry. So I feel pretty good about that. Barkley is obviously going to be, if not the most popular, but one or two of the most popular picks on the entire slate. Obviously, versus the poor run defense with the Texans. Teams just don't have to throw the ball as much to beat this team. You saw that by Tennessee the other couple weeks ago, where they just ran 89 million times with Henry. So Barkley could, see a ton of touches. If I don't think the game will get out of hand, because the Giants, no matter who their competition is, don't seem to be able to put that beat down on anybody. So that's going to be in the mix. So Daniel Jones is an unsure play because he may only throw it 20 times. We don't know. And if he does throw it a few times, I prefer Slayton. I agreed with Pat Mayo on his show. I agree with Slayton over Wan'Dale. I love Wan'Dale. I'm a big Kentucky fan. Wan'Dale's awesome, but Wan'Dale, when he was at Kentucky, could get deep on a lot of people. So if they can start using him in that capacity more, instead of this dink and dunk little jib and jive shit that they do, the dude's got pure speed downfield too. And, maybe because he's short, and in the NFL, they don't want him going up against cornerbacks that are 4 inches taller than he is. Who knows? But it is what it is. So Slayton over Wan'Dale a little bit. Actually, over both of them, Tanner Hudson seems to be the guy separating himself at the tight end position. And I think he could get some looks against this Tennessee team. So I'd be on the lookout for that. Of course, people are also big on Dameon Pierce, 6,300. And no matter the script, the dude's going to get 25 plus touches. And but I will keep an eye on this. He is still nursing, even off the mini bye, because they played Thursday a week ago. And even off of that, he's still showing up with a Q tag from basically impact injuries like the chest and the shoulder from all those carries he's been getting the last couple of weeks. He is just a rookie. Rookies can, they can handle 4 or 5 games with this overusage stuff, but it could take its toll on him sooner rather than later. And you would think if the Texans were trying to build something here with Pierce as a stud running back, that they wouldn't be exposing him to, 29,000 carries in a game that they're getting their ass kicked by double-digit points every week. But that's just my opinion. And so let's see. I want to go ahead and give you all some good juice right here. And it's going to be this Denver, Tennessee game, which looks like garbage, but I kind of might even like it now. Tannehill, we don't know if Tannehill's going to be back yet or not, but we just know it's going to be fat doses of Derrick Henry. And Denver's been giving it up in the run game recently. He's actually, if he can bounce, they actually do a lot of off tackle and getting outside stuff. Dontrell Hilliard, it might not be the worst thing in the world. I really haven't looked at his numbers and snap counts and whatnot, but you never know with him. He could, if he got in here, like they just ran all day on Houston, and they couldn't give 40 carries to Henry. So Hilliard got a little bit of love in that game, and you can see he can get down. And he's a good outside speedy guy, so he might even actually be a sneaky play. I don't know. But Henry would be the guy to look for first and foremost on Tennessee's team. And if Malik, I call him Malik from old school, I forget what the name of the movie was, but I'm not going to sit here and think about it forever, but he, instead of Malik, he called him Malik, making fun of his name. Anyway, so no Gordon, no Murray. I'll tell you who I like. If you did want to try stack, I don't know, Russ. He just doesn't seem to be efficient enough to get multiple touchdowns. If he were able to get multiple touchdowns and sneak one in, he could be a monster at 5,900. And Russ, he's capable. Okay, he's just, maybe he just fell into a groove where earlier in the year where he just wasn't getting it done. But he's got both his wideouts. I prefer Judy over Sutton because it seems like that he does too. I mean, Judy gets down the field, and I'll give you a nugget of information that I've come across is that Denver is 4th in the NFL in the number of 25-yard pass plays and up, greater, 25 and greater. And you think, what? Well, Kansas City has 25. They were first. So it's right there. I mean, it's within a couple of long pass plays. Obviously, Judy has the eye. And then you have Sutton, who might be, people still waiting for him to break out. Dulcich at tight end. I didn't really pay much attention to him, but he's been heavily involved since the trade they made a few weeks ago, getting rid of Fant. So Dulcich is in there. And that's probably just about it for this game. I don't want to get too heavy. It's going to be a one or two, like 1v1 stack, mini stack kind of thing. So not going to get down too heavily there. Want to keep this rolling. So we're going to move on to the next game, which is going to be the big one, Cleveland, Miami. Everybody's going to want to stack this game. A lot in my mind has not changed in this game. The only thing that has is the Joker, Njoku, is out. So that brings in Harrison Bryant as a pay down option at tight end for 2,700. And I liked what Tambo was saying about Tambo on the Mayo show, toe tag and Tambo. Shout out to him. Pretty smart dude, evidently. He wins a lot of money. Likes Peoples Jones as a run back here. I don't mind Cooper either. I feel like they're going to have to throw this. Miami's in a shootout almost on a weekly basis. If you just go look at their game logs, I mean, it's 35, 32, 31, 27. The Pittsburgh game was kind of an anomaly. Minnesota was hair down. Although it's funny because their home games don't shoot out. They go on the road to shoot out. So that's actually kind of interesting. I just came across that. So I will put a pin in that and I will do some research and maybe hit me up in the Discord or whatever. But if you see all these home games, 20-7, 21-19, 16-24, 16-10, all their home games have been low scoring. I don't know why that is, but that's just something to keep an eye on. But basically what it amounts to is it's Tua, Waddle, Tyreek, and then you go on the other side with Cooper, DPJ, and the tight end Bryant. I don't want any RBs in this game. Although Chubb, you can always fire Chubb up as your run back, but he's going to cost you $8,100. So that's interesting. And you can run on Cleveland, but I don't know what to think of this Mostert and Wilson. Now they're right back into their old San Francisco days. Mostert used to be the guy that breaks off the 50, 60-yard runs, but he hasn't really been doing it. He had the one good game against Pittsburgh where he got a little bit of love and barely got there. It's massive chalk. 6,100. I can't get down with that. I think I'll pass. There's too many other running backs. But you already know where you're going with the Tua, Hill, Waddle, Chubb run back, or, you could go DPJ or Bryant cheap. So that's all I got to say about that. Might want to send an ambulance. Maybe a hearse. I like that intro, y'all. New intro, short intro. Hopefully that brings in more viewers. Just talking to myself while I get my brain together. And we are going to go to the next hottie shoddy, which is Detroit, Chicago. Everybody is going to be chasing that Fields chalk. And I totally get it. I mean, he's obviously getting down like 4 flat tires lately. But is he really going to run for 178 yards again in this game? Probably not. So you're talking maybe 13 points less right there. He could still get the TD and maybe 1 or 2 less touchdowns. So, 15 less, but that's still 30. So, he's going to get there. He's going to get probably with his design runs and whatnot against this Detroit team. He's probably going to get 80 yards rushing as a floor. So I get it. I'm going to have Field stacks. I got to eat that. And that's fine. If you want to get away from Fields, obviously Montgomery would be the play. Everybody knows this. I'm glad to see Swift shedding the Q tag. So I think he'll get more work this week. But it's just, roll the dice for 6,400 because that is a dart throw. We don't know if he's going to get 10 snaps or 20 snaps. I feel like he's going to get at least 15 touches in this game between rushing and receiving, probably 8 to 10 carries, 4 to 6 targets. I feel pretty good about that. The one, I guess, minor, maybe some love for some pay down options is Justin Jackson steps in, but he's now the number 3 running back. I thought maybe if Swift was either limited or out, that he might get some love as a 4K, but I don't know if I could do that. Him being the 3rd running back, I can't advise that or abide by it, so I'm not going to do it. Of course, St. Brown, who's actually become more of just safe floor guy than his high upside he had earlier in the year. And, the Lions on the road, I don't fully trust that. Mooney and Claypool, I still lean Mooney if you want to stack somebody with Fields. He's 5,500. And I think that's why everybody's going to absolutely love this stack, is because they can throw Fields in there for the upside. And then you got Mooney and you got Komet, who didn't get much of a bump, but Komet's really reaping the rewards. It feels like to me of Claypool being in there and their new play calling, because with Fields running the ball himself, maybe it's not so much on Komet to block. So now he's starting to get maybe just a little bit more love in the pass game, and he's always a good red zone target. So I think we all know where we're going with this stack. You can play Fields naked without any pass catchers, which I might be doing in some lineups. And then, without a run back, I might just throw Justin Fields in at quarterback and then just forget about this game as a whole. You just squash it. You take your cheap Fields at 6,500, and then you can go do a Miami stack or something, and just hope that Fields outscores Tua. I know it doesn't sound corollary, but it's, gives you kind of an extra running back, $6,500 running back at your quarterback who can throw, Anyway, next game up, this game, Fool's Gold, Minnesota Buffalo. I tweeted out earlier today. I mean, I'm leaning toward, and I think everybody else is too, they need to sit Josh Allen. This is a whole season marathon, not a sprint. You're still barely halfway. I wouldn't risk injuring him further. I think you can beat Minnesota, but even if you lose to Minnesota, you ain't out of it by no means. You still got division games, and you still got, the Jets and the Patriots, Miami's, they're improved teams, but you're still the cream of the crop in this division. So get her done and sit Josh Allen. Everybody seems to love Case Keenum, and I'd probably be interested in him too. The only caveat I warn you guys about is the weather. It is going to be either rainy/snowy, windy. The wind looks like it's going to be up close to 20 miles an hour. You know how the wind in Buffalo gets? The ball if it blows sideline to sideline, the ball flies all over the place. Case Keenum's a short dude. He's going to put air under the ball. He's not Josh Allen, who could cut through that shit like butter. Case Keenum and Cousins is a floaty kind of guy too. I mean, he's got a better arm than Keenum, but I don't trust either one of these quarterbacks. The route I would take is probably Dalvin Cook. I don't know if I could get Madison. If they got an early lead, you would probably see more Madison, and he can always get you, but they price him up too much. If he was 4,500, I'd play him, but Dalvin Cook is probably the guy. I might lean away from Jefferson this one time. Diggs, Diggs, Davis, and all them guys. If Keenum plays, I don't have any interest there. If it beats me, so be it. But I'm going to bank on the fact that the weather's going to be very poor. And if at least one game every year in Buffalo, the weather sucks, and there's just it's going to be a 13-9 slog fest. If 13-9, it's probably going to be more like 13-8 or 7. One touchdown, maybe one field goal from about 20 yards out, something like that. That is what I'm thinking there. So the next game up, I think, is going to be we're going to finish it off with Jacksonville and Kansas City. And then I'll have a couple other little thoughts, and then we'll close out. So keep an eye on that weather. This game looks good. I like the both ways stacking. Mahomes is 7,900, which is expensive, I feel a lot better about Juju at 6K. I wanted to see something, and yes, they've already ruled Hardman out. Good. I wrote that down earlier to keep an eye on him, so now we know. So those targets are going. I'm not calling it 9. I'll call it 5. I don't know where we're going to get with Jacksonville. They're on the road. They're going to throw. I mean, they've really been a lot more about throwing the ball than they have running anymore. Edwards-Helaire was getting a lot of touchdown upside earlier in the year, but he's not so much this time. Now, this is where you're going to get quirky. Tony is still new. I don't know that I go there. Valdez-Scantling is so boomer bust. And I told you earlier, Kansas City is number 1 in 25-yard plus passing plays. And Valdez-Scantling is kind of the reason why a lot of times. But, he has a 57-yarder and there's a 36. I don't know what it is. He's an excellent blocker. So, sometimes he's either down the field 50 yards or he's blocking. So Hardman out. I'm going to say Smith-Schuster is guaranteed his 10 targets, and obviously Kelce. But if I single stack this game, I might just let Kelce beat me. If he gets, as long as he doesn't score 2 touchdowns, which he could. So I'll take that back. I would play Kelce over, I won't say over Tyreek Hill, but as much as Tyreek Hill. He's a hell of a lot cheaper, and he's got multiple touchdown upside. It's against a weaker opponent. They seem to be good against tight ends, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Kelce's more of a wide receiver. So I will have some Kelce, and it may not so much be with Mahomes. Maybe it'll be Lawrence stacks, because I do like Lawrence, because they're 10-point underdogs in this game in a 50-point total. I think they'll score I think they'll cover the 10, honestly, but not by much. I think it's going to be one of those 44-32, or 44-28, 44, something like that. But if they can get 24 plus points out of Jacksonville, this Lawrence stack should be fine. So you go Lawrence, and then you can just automatically plug Kirk in. I feel pretty good about Etienne. You can go with him or not, because I think he'll catch more passes out of the backfield if they're behind. So I still think he gets there. 7,100 is a pretty good deal. So you can go that route. You can pay down for a tight end, and this is just a $2,500 guy, and then we'll flex Kelce. And then you still got 5,300 per player. You throw in a cheap defense, Jags, and then you got 6,400 per player, and you got yourself a nice setup here. You can run Juju, or you can actually add in some of those Miami players, or whatever you want to do. Honestly, it's up to you. But that's it. Etienne's got the workhorse role. I'm not so high on Zay Jones. I think you can find other low-priced options. I would just stick with Kirk. I think Kirk and Etienne are fine as ancillary pieces. The only other small piece is if Evan Ingram is in. I'm not going to play him, but he's shed the Q tag, so he's in. So anyway, that's about it. There's a few other probably hit or misses in there, but I just wanted to get this down Friday so we can have all weekend to think about it. There are some really good game stacks. Go back, hit the timestamps, go through. I'll have each game plugged out so you can timestamp your way through it if you want to, or just watch half the video. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for all the love and subscriptions and, all that kind of good stuff. And until the next video, which will be PGA, probably the RSM preview video coming out this weekend. See you soon.